Crash is back! Oh. I like Crash.
I like Crash.
Crash is back.
I like Crash. I like Crash.
Well, that last Sony E3 conference was pretty damn great overall, I think most people would agree. God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, Detroit Become Human, Resident Evil 7 confirmation that The Last Guardian was definitely still happening, and Crash Bandicoot, and Skylanders, I don't even fucking care because Crash Bandicoot's getting a PS1 trilogy, PS4 remaster, PS4 Skylanders go die, I want to crash into boxes because that's why it's called Crash Bandicoot!
So yeah, if you couldn't tell, I love Crash Bandicoot, big fan, and I was very excited to hear about all of this new remastered PS4 nonsense, but after the recent gameplay reveals, I wanted to make a video explaining in a little bit more depth how I feel about the whole thing because enough of you have been asking me. So without further ado, let's talk about Crash Bandicoot.
Okay, to be honest guys, my excitement for this game is still skyrocketing, which probably explains why I'm so indifferent about the gameplay reveals. Maybe I'm expecting too much, maybe I'm too nostalgic, I don't know, but I'm not actually that massively impressed with what I'm seeing so far. That doesn't mean I don't like what I'm seeing though, because there's a lot to like here. First off, I'm ecstatic that a linear platforming 3D game like this is getting treatment in today's gaming space, and the animations are stretchy and bouncy along with the models looking fucking fantastic and truer to Crash Bandicoot than anything since Crash Tag Team Racing. It seems to be running unbelievably smoothly and flawless at 60 FPS so far, which is great, and if I could get my hands on it, it looks like it would play very well. Crash looks like he has a lot of presence and weight against the stages, and that's great to know since the differences in controls and physics between the awfully dated and dopey original game and the second and third games won't exist. It'll hopefully all be built with the same control scheme and moveset in mind, and I can't wait to play through the stages I remember so well with better controls. Saying that though, Some Call Me Johnny said it all kind of felt like the original game's control style, and if that applies for just the first game's redo, then that would suck a little bit, but if it applies across all of the games, that would suck quite a lot.
But yeah, I don't want to sound like a grumpy gobby git with a gob.
But there's a few things I ain't too sure about at this point. Despite the original soundtrack being slightly remixed, I don't think it's as good as the original songs from what we've heard so far. They're not bad at all, just not my preference. It sounds like it's trying way too hard to sound different while trying too hard to stay exactly the same. It can't decide what it wants to do, you know, either totally change it with completely different instruments or something, or go with the original tracks. And on the Hang 8 trailer, there are pointless splashes of distorted guitars that just don't fit the mood of the stage or the song itself. I'm a little bit worried they won't theme the instruments around the environments and make the tracks more stale as a result. There also doesn't seem to be any single level design tweaks from what we've seen so far, no surprises, and extremely by the numbers for a remake, and even though the visuals are good for sure, if you compare Crash 1 even to this, the level of detail for 3 consoles later, I would argue isn't that high. I don't feel like the PS4 is being pushed, but I can see the PS1 being pushed. And look at the high contrast and deep luscious jungle colours in the first game. Why does the remaster look a bit washed out and tired in comparison? I know you could say, oh, just turn up the contrast in the game or change your TV settings or whatever, but no, I think it looks too foggy in places, and in other places just not that amazing. And there's loads of little effects that don't seem to be there anymore. I didn't think that the intro warp for the Hang 8 stage was as good as the original, and even the crystal grab looks pretty lame in comparison. That's just fucking crystal grabbing. Particularly odd since the original games were indeed made by Naughty Dog, who have made Uncharted 4 possible on PS4, so what better way to illustrate how the same team is definitely not working on this with the level of detail here. That being said, if Some Call Me Johnny was indeed correct and the same physics and control styles apply to each different game, well, from what he played at least, then I'm hoping that means that some of the power-ups you can get from Crash 3 can then be replayed in Crash 1 and 2 to then find more surprises and more secrets and get more collectibles and stuff. Like, that would be a nice, awesome change. It would make it feel definitive. It would make it feel different. It would make it feel like a complete package, but I don't know. I mean, obviously we can't say at this point. It's way too early, but I really hope that's a feature. I just do. I hope if that's what they're going to do with the controls and keep them the same over every single game, then I bloody hope they can do something like that to make it just a little bit more standout.
So yeah, everybody can just ignore me if you want to, or you can see something different now that I've brought it up, or you can completely disagree with me still. It's fine. It's your world, you know? I'm just letting my personal love for the series kind of shape my own weird expectations. And I want to be proven wrong. I want this to be the definitive way to play the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. You do not want to get me wrong there. I do love the original trilogy, but if this can better it, I would be happy camper. And since Oddworld New and Tasty completely sold me on a couple of trailers alone, and it looked totally different, and when I got the game, obviously, I thought it was fucking amazing, I just find it a little bit of a shame that Crash doesn't seem to be having the same kind of reaction out of me. But you know, only time will tell. The game comes out in a few months in the summertime. I'm so excited, and I really, really hope that it's gonna be great. So yeah, there you go. If it's your birthday today or watching this video, happy friggin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.